name is Joshua Levenberg. Imagine you were a voter in the 2016 presidential election who regularly supported Democratic candidates for years. Agreeing with Hillary Clinton's positions, you cast your vote, but she didn't win in the end. Despite gaining 3 million more popular votes, the state electors were not in her favor. I too was involved in the last as well as my first election. My experience there as well as in a couple political science classes have earned me credibility in the subject. Many of you might have felt the same way about the election as well as the Gore versus Bush one. Ever since the U.S. Constitution was finalized in 1789, the Electoral College has been part of elections intended to curb the rash impulses of the uneducated masses is only rendered the one vote, one choice concept meaningless. Fortunately, it can be reformed for a more accountable government. In order to understand the solution, you must understand the problem at hand. The Electoral College is a major problem that not only affects emotional well-being but also democratic values. The Constitution was created of the people, by the people, for the people, but the Electoral College only seems to benefit individual states. Number of electoral votes is determined by one vote per 500,000 people and 2 senators per state. The smaller states get a minimum of 3 electoral votes, even with small populations. The futility of individual votes can be distressing for people and induce them to no longer vote. Pew Research states nearly 56% of the U.S. voting age population cast ballots in 2016, a slight uptake from 2012, but compared to 2012, but less than the record year of 2008. Swing states are the true winners in elections, not large or small ones. Candidates usually only campaign in a mere handful of states. They are states without a party majority and often focus on the campaign trail. 5 presidents won elections thanks to purely swing states. According to American journalist Charles Mattison, Politico has identified 11 states with the 2016 election will be won and lost. Colorado, Florida, Iowa, Michigan, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin. In short, only slightly more than 20% or 1/5 of the states in the Union helped Trump win. Despite negative consequences, not all hope is lost. The Electoral College can be reformed. There are alternatives acquired by contacting your elected officials and asking them to vote for a new amendment. One proposal is adding 102 electoral votes to the popular winner, 2 for each state including the District of Columbia. American journalist Robert Schlesinger says the plan would give new way for voters who live in those 22 states no national can bother to show up at all. 85% of the electoral vote will still need to be won on a state-to-state basis. American journalist Steve Silverstein claims the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact will be used to commence said change by allocating $270 the electoral votes to the popular win. Another proposal is a breakaway from the winner-takes-all system, a practice which forces dissenting electors to vote for the same candidate as a majority in a state. American journalist David Bruce says that by abolishing a system, by allocating electoral votes, third parties would have more of a say in the decision-making process. American journalist Ed Grabianowski states, Maine and Nebraska follow the district system. In those states, 2 electoral votes are made based on the candidate who received the most votes statewide. The remaining electoral votes go by congressional districts, awarding the vote to the candidate who received the most votes in each district. Finally, the last proposal is to increase the number of the House of Representatives. American journalist Kevin Baker states, each 10 years in accordance to the Constitution mandated census and target number of representatives that shall not succeed one every 30,000 population from Article 1, Section 2, the size of the House of Representatives should be equal to the size of the electorate. In short, it should be 538 representatives, 103 more than the actual representative number. From discussing the problem and explaining the solution, my third point will how the issue has affected me personally. How the Electoral College will negatively affect you or me. At age 19, I consider myself a valuable new voter. During the 2016 presidential election, I received my voter ID, voted at a local mall, and even received a pin in my label that I voted. My parents were so proud that they done to celebrate. Unlike Bush's score, the Hillary versus Trump results were not even close, with 2.88 million vote country. That's the biggest margin for a president since the 1876 election, when Rutherford B. Hayes was declared the winner despite losing 250,000 votes to his opponent. The system is not fixed in the future. The country might produce more commanders-in-chief, not selected by the majority. And perhaps the popular vote will be abolished altogether. You can see voting rights being curtailed in states like Alabama and Texas, where voter ID laws are being imposed and poll taxes are being reintroduced under the ashes of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Now you know but not only the problems and solutions, but also the consequences of keeping the status quo. all ring hollow without action. It is urgent to write to your representatives to propose a bill to Congress. If they refuse, then elect another official who is willing to propose said bill. Democracy does not involve complacency. It involves action and strong participation. Despite America's wine-rich history, it is still a young nation. The story of democracy is ever evolving to this very day. As famous as the Democratic leader Perkins was said, freedom is the sure possession of those who have the courage to defend it.